Welcome to The Open Queue, a podcast where we talk about entertainment, pop culture, and the daily life of navigating the entertainment industry as a creative. I'm your host, Shaka Omari, and I'm joined by my business partner, Charles Malone. We'll sometimes have other creative guests on to tell us about their journey in the industry, dealing with their ups and downs, struggles, and successes. We'll also touch on current changes to the business of television and film, as well as cue up what we're watching, listening to, or a piece of art we've been inspired by. And now, let's get queued up. Hey, and welcome back to The Open Queue.
What was it? Friday, Netflix announced, or more so the acquisition announcement that Netflix was buying Warner Brothers for what? Like $83 billion?
Yep, $83 billion. Who doesn't have $83 billion sitting around? Funny about that, though, they're actually taking on more debt in order to do this.
Oh, yes, I know. I think they're taking on $10 billion of Warner debt. That's a part of this deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they themselves are in about $30 billion in debt.
Right.
But
I don't think so.
Business was function in debt. It's a part of doing business.
Capitalism. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think these mergers are good for business industry? I know. I think I know.
I know it's a fair question. I'm just laughing because I think we talk about this in one of our earlier episodes. I think it's episode 4 when we were talking about streaming services in general. And I do not think, I think that this goes back to the monopolies of the old age, the robber barons, as we call it. It's not good. It's anytime that you concentrate anything into one conglomerate, there's less choices, there's less experience, there's less innovation, especially in a system like capitalism, in my opinion. But that's me. What do you think?
No, I think the like first thing that comes to mind, like immediately, are probably an onslaught of layoffs that are probably coming, because it seems to come with every merger.
100%.
Yeah, you have to clean house, and it's already a terrible job market. So that's the first thing that comes to mind, especially, Paramount went through layoffs, and, the acquisition of like Blizzard when that happened.
Yeah.
There's like layoffs come. And so I just think about like the massive amount of people that are going to be tossed back into the unemployment pool and people who are looking for jobs, and it's already really competitive. It's gonna be even worse. Then the next thing is like IP hoarding.
Yeah, because they're getting a lot of legacy IP from Warner Brothers. And, the Harry Potters, the Game of Thrones, me as a comic book nerd, the DC Universe, on and on and on. Classics like Citizen Kane. It's one of those things where it's like, Warner Brothers is a legacy studio, from the 1900s. I can't remember exactly when it started, but it's one of the legacy studios. And now that it's been bought up by tech, to me, it's the concentration of all of this IP, of all of this art in one place. On one end, like on a tech nerd side, I'm going to try to play devil's advocate, even though that someone told me the devil doesn't need any advocates, which I agree with. It's nice that, okay, people can say, oh, there's one spot that I can go to and get all the content it is that I want, all the, the classics and everything. It's right here for me. This is the library that's for. On the other end, though, again, the concentration of that, it makes it hard for anything new to go forward because you're building a great library, but that's what a library is. It just houses a plethora of books. Like, that's great, but
films are going to get shelved as also shelved probably as write-offs for the company as well.
Well, yeah, don't get me started with the CEO of Warner Brothers who did that with a lot of stuff when he took over. And that's what's really funny to me is that he's actually going to get paid even more in this acquisition after shelving so many projects and basically, according to someone I was reading in a Vanity Fair article, running Warner Brothers into the ground,
Well, I was at a company that was under the Warner umbrella at one point. I feel like it was definitely hit with some of that. But also, I think you said something great at one point when this first happened, is that like he's probably going to get a huge pay package for the sell. So it's like, you can fail extremely forward.
Yeah. That again, that's quoting this Vanity Fair article, what an industry insider was saying, an executive. And I agree. Like, I can't dispute that because that is true. You shelved so many projects, canceled so many projects. Warner Brothers wasn't doing well after you took over to the point that you needed to get acquired because Discovery is going to have its own, well, like publicly traded company. CNN, I think TNT, some of those channels are going to spin out of this. Netflix is just absorbing the legacy Warner Brothers Studio and HBO, and then you still get paid. And I think he was one of the highest paid executives not too long ago. So it's kind of this thing of like, it feels like in the past, Hollywood was always this marriage of business and art.
For sure.
And you know, anyone that's been in a relationship knows, yeah, there's ebbs and waves with, you know, when you're in a relationship of like, hey, who has a little bit more control? But usually it's because both of you come to a compromise because you're both going towards some kind of goal, right? And you want to work together. But now it feels like business. It feels kind of like people are probably going to get mad at me saying this, like the old school patriarchy where it's like father knows best and like business is the one that's on top and art's just the housewife that is upset and sad.
I don't know about that analogy. I mean, it works.
I'm just saying.
It also completely distracted me. It does go back to the old Steve Jobs thing of saying when salespeople take over for design people or creative people, that's when companies, sometimes tend to fail because the salespeople then become out of touch with what made that particular product or brand successful. And I do think there's a little bit of that happening in the entertainment industry with the convergence of like tech and entertainment. There is a lot of innovation and great things that tech did bring to the business. It is also slightly, I feel, destroying the business a bit on the creative side, especially when things are so algorithmic. I don't even know if that's a word. But when we have things just like deciding it off of data points, do we lose touch with like the piece of it that did have a soul? I think you could see things like Guillermo del Toro and like him, but really anti AI and like numbers don't have a beating heart sometimes when it comes to like what should we make next.
I agree. And I think that's what it's funny that you use Steve Jobs, saying that that's a tech company that has a streaming service. But I think that that mindset is absolutely right. When you run it on algorithms, I think Steve Jobs actually said sometimes people don't know what they want until you give it to them. And I think that's the exciting part about when you have multiple studios all competing against each other, because somebody's going to take a chance on something that nobody knows or thinks is going to work. Somebody somewhere will do it. And then people go, oh, I've been starving for this and I just didn't even know it. But when you squeeze everything into just one, then you don't have to take risk. You don't have to take chances. You just choose the thing it is that you know that works. And it almost becomes, again, like a buffet where there's a bunch of stuff there, but nothing actually really tastes good. Like you're just like, sure, you know,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like this
a win.
yeah.
I'll be winning.
I mean, for besides corporate greed, right? I don't know who's here. I get C-suite executives really do make out, but there's so many people between the people at the top and those who actually do the work to make the business run. I feel like we're that like class and wage gap is getting larger and larger and larger. So I don't know. I don't have the answers right at this moment, but it does seem bleak because when does it stop? I mean, I think with Paramount being acquired and now Warner Brothers. I mean, is Netflix and not Netflix, but is Apple and Disney gonna do like the Dragon Ball fusion dance next? Is that what comes next? And then Disney already has all this the tech at the Disneyland, but then it's now just a part of the
Apple
Apple tech.
ecosystem. Yeah.
And it's
I'm wondering what's going to happen with Sony. Is Sony going to do anything?
okay, so
Like,
interesting enough of it, but Sony, the difference is Sony is a Japanese company, and I think it'd be really hard, not impossible, but I think it'd be a lot harder to acquire a Japanese company as an
mm,
American company just completely
true.
taking over.
Fingers crossed. And let
Yeah,
we keep one
but
studio.
business-wise for Sony, put them at a disadvantage.
I mean, I think so.
Everyone going straight to streamer and have their own platform. And I think Universal or NBC is still under Comcast.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, overall, not a fan. We just felt like we had to talk about it. It's something
Yeah.
that's going to affect the industry at large.
Yep.
It's not a done deal,
No.
right?
So that is, I was about to say, to end on some good things,
Yeah.
semi good things. This still does have to go through regulatory approval, which is going to be difficult because a lot of people, all the guilds, basically SAG, WGA, PGA, the DGA, they're all like, yep, nope. There's a lot of people in the industry that are kind of like, this is not good. That there's going to be a lot of scrutiny, that they're going to have to go through everyone's books on both sides to make sure that the thing is good. The caveat to that is it does mean it's going to make it difficult for Warner Brothers, I think, to do deals because everyone's going to be wondering, who do I pitch to and what do I go to? There is that. The other thing I would say is I do feel, to your point, when is enough enough? At a certain point in time, they're going to have to break it apart because it's just not sustainable, in my opinion. I don't think that you can merge to one. I just don't think it's going to be sustainable. Either that or because humans are humans, and in the words of Jurassic Park, life finds a way. Someone's going to come and disrupt this because it has to.
Before, just really, really quick on it before we wrap this up. I think we're already starting to disrupt it. I think the short form content is already starting to insert its way into, culture, and
Yep.
people are watching, little small size, Quibi sized bites. RIP Quibi.
Ahead of its time.
Yeah. But it is changing.
Yeah.
And I think the industry is gonna have to evolve. But check out our episode 4. We talk about streaming versus theaters, and we review, I think, deep cover the comedy. But in
So
that
good.
episode, we talk about this. A lot of the stuff we talk about now is in there. At that time, Paramount was just getting acquired by Skydance. But yeah, I think all in all, I would like to fail forward into a ridiculous. I would like to run a business into the ground and then sell
And
it
still get paid. Yeah.
and still get paid.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, in order to do that, though,
yeah,
just a word of advice, you got to make sure that whatever your core fundamental IP is of the business is so good that you can fail. And they still say, we'll take that over for you.
yes.
So,
So
yeah. So franchise building.
and then
Franchise and fail. That's the new thing.
franchise and fail.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess we'll see you
See you next time.
in the queue.
Peace. The Open Queue is an Open Queue production. If you like the show, be sure to follow, rate, and review it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. And tell your friends and fam to do the same. Also, feel free to share a link to someone who you think might really enjoy this conversation. And we'll see you in the queue.